Welcome to day 12 of Self-Love February. Are you ready to dive deep? Let's go. We're going to take a low lunge today with a couple of arm variations, and we're going to talk about limitations. That's always fun. Okay, so pick a leg, any leg, whatever you want your first victim to be. First variation, you can clasp the hands together, put them right on top of the quad muscle here. This back leg goes as back as you feel comfortable with the stretch in the front hip crease there. So it can stay at 90 and 90, or you can go ahead and walk it out a little. That is up to you. Back foot can remain flexed, ball of the foot in the toes on the mat, or you can bring it out, lay it flat. Okay, so in this first variation, we are just getting a nice hip stretch, but if we really want to bring that heart opener to it, step one would be to lean back a little, keeping the hands where they are for stability. Super simple, right? Step two, we can bring our arms, I'm going to run out of room here on the wall, but at least you can see this one, into a cactus-like goalpost, arms, whatever you want to call them, and really bring them back in a U formation so the shoulder blades are coming together and we're just holding there. Third, you can take the arms up and back, getting a nice arch here, making sure that if you're feeling a lot of uncomfortableness in this front hip crease, you come out of it a little, okay? But you can still keep that arch wherever you are. So, limitations. And just for ease of me talking, I think I'm gonna bring the arms down, but you keep yours wherever you feel comfortable. So limitations. We all have them. None of us are perfect. There are things some of us will never be able to do. There are things maybe we'll be able to do one day. And whatever the case may be on that, that is acceptable wherever you are. You need to accept where you are. Acknowledge those limitations. There's no need to beat yourself up over it because we are all human. For instance, me personally, I have quite a few limitations, and as a fitness instructor, it is, I'm going to say painful. Well, it can be painful. We're going to go ahead and switch legs now. Bring it down, shake it out a little, and bring the other one forward. Clasping the hands for step one. They can actually be painful. My personal limitations are physical and mental. So yeah, like a lot of people, I struggle with anxiety. There's a lot of little devils on my shoulder and imposter syndrome and all of that that can hold me back at times. But over the years, I've worked really hard to overcome those.
Any ideas?
And it's tough. Not a lot of people can or are willing to do so and to work at it to get better. And sometimes that takes talking to someone, it takes therapy or medication, and that's okay. There is no judgment in what gets you through life. Personally, I've never gone the medication route. I've always just tried to work hard on myself. Go ahead and bring the arms up if you are so inclined. I've always to better myself on my own. Getting help and stuff like that for me has always been a last resort, but that is just my personality. Everybody has their own way of going about it, and we shouldn't judge anybody for the route that they take. So I'm bringing the arms down so I can talk to you better. Aside from anxieties that keep me or have kept me from performing at my best, I also have a very serious back issue. I've had it since I was a teenager. I've got 4 to 5 herniated discs. Kind of a long story. It went along with my mental health struggles. You know what, I'll just talk about it, doesn't matter. So I've always felt this restlessness and a need for things like reorganization. I hate keeping a room. Go ahead and come out of this a little bit just to give the hips a break, 'cause we've been in it a little bit. So go ahead and come onto the knees. If you would like, while I continue to talk, now would be a great time to go into the stretch, and I will join you in just a second. So I have always felt this need to at least reorganize the space that I'm in, make it new, feel like I'm somewhere different, I guess. And there's a quote by Angelina Jolie actually where she says, wherever she is, she's always looking out the window wanting to be somewhere else. And I've always totally understood that. So when I was a kid, I was a book hoarder. I loved books. I still love books. I love to read. And I would just have these boxes of books that I wouldn't get rid of, but I had no place to put in my tiny childhood bedroom. So I would put them in a box, and I would lift them up all by myself onto an overhead closet, and sometimes on the bottom as well, but that's really what the problem was. Books are heavy. I don't know if you've ever lifted a box of books when you're moving, but yeah, get the mover to do that for you. I was, oh goodness, between the ages of 13 and 17. Should never have been doing that. I had no one to safely guide me or to instruct me, or who even knew what I was doing really at that time. And so I ended up injuring myself fairly badly. I wasn't able to go to school for the longest time. Sitting up for extended periods of time was painful. I didn't know anything about exercise. I was also an overweight child, so that contributed as well. Big video game nerd, book reader, I was sitting a lot. And it just goes to show you how important it is to start early with fitness in young adults, children, as well as, continuing on into an adult life, because being physical and, keeping up a lifestyle that is healthy prevents injury. So ab work has always been extremely difficult for me. Pilates and yoga have really helped my back, but unfortunately, with if you've been on one leg the whole time, go ahead and go to the other one. With such an injury, it doesn't ever really heal to 100%. Surgery can help, but it's not a guarantee, and I was never willing to bargain on it, and not that I could have afforded it anyway. And so I just had to heal on my own and hope for the best, because I was still young at the time. It definitely healed, it definitely got better, but to this day, you can find me walking like a grandma at times. I have to be really careful with ab work. I have to be really mindful of where I am in a particular day, and I have to accept my limitations. If I can't do an advanced move, I have to set my ego aside. As a fitness instructor, that's really hard to do, because you think at all times you should be perfect and the best and just go. And not only is that bad for you, but it's a bad example for your students. So if I have any fitness instructors out there who identify with this, you have physical limitations or whatever, and you are not accepting them, and you're not giving the best that you can to your body, go ahead and bring it down. Please try to consider taking a little more self-care with yourself, because I feel like honesty is the best policy, and there's nothing wrong with taking it, I don't want to say taking it easy, because modifications are still difficult, as we all know at times, but it's important that you don't lead your students in an unsafe direction. And if you're teaching a move that you can't do very well, you may be teaching it incorrectly, and your students could get hurt, in addition to you possibly making your own injury or limitation, or causing an injury or whatever, making all of that worse. So please consider taking a step back and thinking about that. And from a student point of view, I have always had a push-push mentality, obviously, as I've already stated. And I always want to go 100%. I want to be the best in the class. And, you know, you have to accept that, you know, you can't always, first of all, there's always going to be someone that's better than you. Always. I don't think that's something we'd like to acknowledge with our own hubris and ego.
Any ideas?
But there is always going to be someone that's better at whatever it is than you, and you have to accept that. You know, I'm doing these little videos in YouTube. I'm just starting out. I know I'm comparing myself constantly to the people who know what they're doing and have been doing it for years and are infinitely better than I am. And I catch myself doing that, and I'm like, but that's not where I am. That's not where I am in my journey. My limitations stop at my technological and monetary ability. You know, so I have to accept that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm okay with it, right? So it's just about logically looking at it and taking a step back and going, you know what? This is where I am. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own way of doing things. And that's okay. So, if you feel like it, let me know some things that you have struggled with in your past in terms of limitations. Do you also feel like you have to perform at 100%, or else someone may look down on you, or you'll be judged, you know, for whatever reason, or you're judging yourself for not going 1,000% and instead only, you know, going 999%. Like, just tell me about your experiences. I would love to hear it. It's nice to know you're not alone in the world. So, I hope you enjoyed today with our lunge variations. Got that nice stretch going on and dove real deep into some real talk. I hope to connect with you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.